We're Hug and Rackle, and I'm Hugh,
I'm Rachel.
and we're back for another Nomad Notes.
2 years ago, when we were starting this whole idea of the nomad journey, we had to figure out how data plans worked in other countries.
So one of the issues we saw was there were international plans, and our phone carrier had international plans, and we could get data that way. But there were some complications the further we looked into it. Then we found eSIMs, and it seemed to check all the boxes. So we'll get into all the details of how eSIMs helped us with our data while traveling the world. We're a new channel and we're still trying to get started, so we appreciate it if you enjoy the content. Please like and subscribe. We'll keep bringing more content like this in the future, so subscribe to see it all.
And if you have any ideas of something you'd like us to talk about that you're curious about, just put it in the comments below and we will do that.
Yes. Before we get into why we're going to use eSIMs, let's talk about why we aren't really crazy about physical SIM card changing out in every country we go to.
There's a decent amount of reasons for that.
Yeah.
One being, if you're traveling by airplane for very long travel days, which we have frequently, when you get to the airport of your final destination, you would really like to just get to your Airbnb or your hotel or where it is you're staying as quick as possible.
Yeah.
If you have to walk through the airport and try to find a store that is selling SIM cards, that can be an issue. A lot of times your airplane gets in super late or super early and there's no stores open. Sometimes the stores are sold out. There's a lot of reasons, and you're exhausted and grouchy.
And on top of that, when you're grouchy and tired,
Yeah.
I don't know if it's just because of that, but sometimes you're trying to figure out the instructions in another language. You're trying to figure this out. You're not really in the mood to do it. It's the worst possible timing. And if you're like us, you need that data. So that was a big piece for us.
Yeah.
How we use data, we need it for managing our transportation. So whether that's Uber or Lyft or Bolt or any of the number of apps that are all around the world, we need to be able to summon the right vehicles. Oftentimes we have luggage requirements that are greater than most because we're full-time nomads. We have no home base. A lot of times the taxis that are sitting in queue are too small.
They charge you a ridiculous amount because they know you're a tourist or a foreigner or whatever. We try very hard to not just catch a taxi at the airports because it's usually not great.
We almost 100% use Airbnb. So not all Airbnbs are the same. A lot of them have the self-check-in, but a lot of them don't.
Yeah.
And so if you're needing to communicate through the app as you're arriving and then as you're actually in your vehicle to get to the Airbnb to coordinate where we're going to, connect to get the key and how we're getting in, you can't do that unless you have data. So you need it right away, at least the way that we travel.
Yeah, it's just another thing to struggle with if you don't have a way to do all of it. You're already tired at the end of a long travel day. So for us, simple is better.
Yes.
We like to keep our heads and not bite each other's heads off.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's stressful enough
Yeah.
having a big travel day.
When
So
you're tired.
anything you can do to make it easier.
Not to mention things like Google Translate. Depending on the country you're in, some countries, most people speak English, which is obviously what we speak, so that makes it easy. But there's a lot of places that we've been where they don't speak any English or hardly any English. So Google Translate is your best friend in situations like that. And if you don't have internet access, it's very difficult to use.
There's two sides to this too. Yes, there might be some saying, but you could download certain languages, and that's true. And we do that when we're going to a new country. but that does not work for scanning with your camera images.
Yeah.
So we constantly use Google Translate at the store.
Reading signs
and
anywhere.
reading
or,
signs.
Yeah,
Yes.
anything like
in
that.
the airport, if we're looking at things that are in Cyrillic alphabet and we don't even know how to pronounce it, let alone, if it's French or Spanish, we might be able to figure it out. But depending on where you are, you might really need the ability to do an image scan and then give you back results. Just very briefly, we won't go into the weeds on this, but what is an eSIM? So in short, it is a SIM card that is physically embedded in your phone. It is a piece of the hardware in your phone. So there's still a SIM, it's just that now it's actually permanently embedded in the motherboard of the phone. And instead of being like the little plastic SIMs that you get at your phone store where you plug it in and pull it out, those are pre-programmed. The eSIMs are software programmable within the phone. So through an app, through something that's on your phone, you can program and reprogram that eSIM an infinite number of times as you travel, thus replacing the need to physically change a SIM card.
If anybody's like me and just kind of clueless about a lot of this stuff, super easy. Instead of having to take your phone apart and take the card out and put a new card in every time you go somewhere, it's literally just there all the time. And before you go to your next destination, you just have to figure out which one you want to buy. You buy it on your phone, and then you restart your phone when you get to the airport, and you're good to go.
If you've bought something on an app in any time in your life, you know how to install an eSIM. I mean, it's pretty straightforward. Every once in a while, there's some gotchas that happen. There are instructions with every SIM that you get. So what is it that we're using? There's different services. Back when we started this in 2022, there really weren't that many.
So we decided to go with Airalo. Why?
The part of the benefit of Airalo is the app is a very clean, easy design, and it's easy to use, and it's not complicated. The prices were really good. You pay by the gigabyte and by the time range. So maybe you're getting 1 gigabyte for 7 days is like a top up, or you're paying for 30 days for 3 gigabytes or 5 gigabytes or whatever it is. The whole point is you have a lot of flexible options to pick. And you can pick local plans, regional plans, or worldwide plans, each of which, have different price points. But the point is based on how you're traveling. Are you going to be in a place for a whole month? Well, maybe local's fine. If you're going to be going through 3 countries in 1 month, maybe you need a regional plan. It gives you the flexibility to do the different types of things you might need to do when traveling like we do.
Well, just so you know, it also works in the United States. So we don't have to have a phone plan. When we go back, we literally just get an eSIM for our phone, and it works anywhere over there. And it's very inexpensive. And probably if we ever move back to the United States, we probably would just do the eSIM all the time. Because it is exceptionally less expensive than any phone plan we've ever seen for cell phones.
Yeah, it's $11 a month for 3 gigabytes of data for 30-day period. You do have to make sure your phone is eSIM compatible.
Ours were not.
Ours were not. We had $50 or
Cheapy phones.
Android phones. We discovered back then that it was only a select few that had the eSIM capability built in. Newer iPhones did. The newer Samsung Galaxies did. There were a couple of others out there. We went with the Samsung Galaxy S22 and are still using the same phones that we got back in 2022, and they're working great. Now, I think as eSIM has evolved and become more popular in the last 2 years, it's probably easier and easier, and maybe eventually it'll become kind of standard, but do your research on your phone and make sure you have something that's compatible. We have links that are in the blog post that go over a full list of all of the current models that are available. Maybe you're thinking, what if you want a calling plan as well? Airalo does have that option also. You can do calling, text, data plan, and they have quite a big range of options. And the key is the local and the regional options are data only plans. If you are going to do a call, text, and data plan, it's only the worldwide option. So it's 124 countries are included in that option as of this time. And so if you want that plan, you can go anywhere from like, what was it, $15 for a 7-day plan that covers just, you know, a smaller amount of text and data and call minutes. Or you can go all the way up to $89 to pay for 365 days worth of, you know, I think it's like 20 gigabytes or a certain amount of calls, certain amount of texts. So you can look into all the details on the Airalo site, and you know, plans can change over time. So just check the current details to see what the availability is. But that can be a great option when you're trying to travel, if you're even doing it for a shorter time, and you want to have all this capability and your standard provider doesn't have great options. You might find this to be the most cost-effective route for calls, text, and data. There's more links down in the blog post. We went into a little bit more detail in the blog post on some of the different options, and there's links to Airalo. Just so you know, this is not a sponsored video, but we are Airalo affiliates. We will get a small percentage if you do use our links and then purchase. It will cost you exactly the same. If you just want to explore the options, click through and take a look and see for yourself if it fits your needs.
And we would really appreciate if you would subscribe and like and ring that little goofy bell. And just the support would mean the world to us. We're a small channel and love to grow.
We appreciate it. And again, in the comments, let us know if you think we did things right, if we think we did things wrong that we could improve. And if there's things that you'd like us to talk about, just let us know. And until next time, have a good one.